Welcome to this episode of Stumbling Through Growth, honest conversations about life's journey. So one of my favorite things in the world is having deep conversations with people about real things. Growth is messy, as we mostly know. I think at this point it's not clean or linear. I think we often think that once we've worked through a life lesson or an issue that we're done with it, that we're never going to have to deal with it again, but guess what? That's not usually the case. These things tend to show up and pop up time and again. Maybe we need to learn them a little deeper, I don't know. So I started this podcast to share these discussions with some of the people that inspire me the most. And I'm so grateful to my guests for being open to sharing their experiences with me and with all of you. My guest today is Wanda Cox. Hi, Wanda. Thank you.
Hello.
So Wanda's a fractional director of operations who works with established founders when growth starts feeling heavier than it should. And her path here wasn't straight. She had 2 decades inside corporate America, spanning marketing, product and operations, years embedded inside online service businesses learning what actually breaks down behind the scenes, and then a decade as a health and wellness coach that permanently changed how she thinks about what sustainable performance actually looks like. I'll share a little bit more about Wanda's work in the show notes. But for now, again, Wanda, thank you so much for saying yes when I asked you about doing this podcast. I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I was really pleased that you said you were kind of following your passion project. I'm like, oh, then that's going to be good.
Right?
Your heart is in it. Yeah.
It's just, it's so, I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, can I just do the podcast and like hype about the people that I love online and get paid to do all that? Because like, this is what I want to do, right?
Exactly.
It would be, wouldn't it be nice? Maybe someday. Oh, God. I'm going to start with the question that I'm asking all my guests. The question is, who is Wanda? Other than being a terrible liar, which you told me. Like, not what you do, but who you are. How do you define yourself, I guess?
Oh, my goodness. Wow, we're starting big here.
Seriously.
There's so many ways. I'm stumbling over obviously, I'm not eloquent. Can I tell you when I'm not?
That's okay. You can tell me whatever you like.
Oh, wow. Loyal. I am curious. I love to laugh. I think we spend our times being too serious about too many things that at the end of the day don't really matter. I am incredibly informal, which is a good and bad thing because people tend to overlook you if you seem to be a little bit more laid back. I am an introvert, and that has proven challenging at times when you're kind of in the extrovert world.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm navigating that. Mm-hmm. I'm a daughter. I'm a caretaker. Yeah. Cat lover.
Awesome. I didn't know you were a cat lover. Okay.
I'm a cat lover. Yes, right. I'm currently catless. I'm working on it, though.
You're currently catless, but you're working on it? Okay.
Oh, yeah. My sweetheart died last December.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Things were kind of in flux. I'm like, I shouldn't do it right now. So,
yeah.
But I'm looking. It's the longest stretch I've ever gone without a cat since I started having them around.
Yeah. We don't have any pets, and I always think about, like, I always wanted a dog. Like, when I was a kid growing up, I always wanted a dog, and my mother was deathly afraid of dogs, so we never had a dog. But we did have a cat, and the cat loved to torment me because it kind of knew, like, I have a love-hate, not really hate, but you know what I mean.
They know. Yeah,
they know. And they're, like, all over the people that they know are like, don't come near me. And the people that want them, they're like, yeah. At least the ones I've encountered.
They definitely have a little personality, like, you will love me.
Right. Uh-huh. And I admire that, I have to say. And I agree with you. I'm also an introvert, living in an extrovert world, which is interesting sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. And also very informal, and try not to take myself too seriously. Even though this is kind of a serious topic in a way, I want it to be light. It's like, it's a conversation, right? It's,
No one's going to die.
No one's going to die.
That's my barometer. Is anyone going to die, then
right?
we're starting off pretty well.
We're doing okay. Oh my God, I love that. I think about, you and I talked obviously before this just to get a little background. And, you told me that you were an only child. Mm-hmm. You grew up in New Haven, Connecticut, which is now, anyway, a pretty racially diverse city.
Yes.
But I don't know, was it like that when you were growing up? How was it?
It's where I lived so that was kind of the only lens I looked at it through. Mm. So where I went to school wasn't so much.
Yeah.
But my home life was pretty diverse, so it was kind of like, This is just how it is.
Right. Okay. And do you think, like, I was reading something about there was like urban renewal that was going on at the time, I think around the time that you were probably growing up, that was causing a lot of upheaval, but I don't know if that impacted you or not. But how did your, like, growing up, where you grew up and how you grew up shape you, or did it, do you think?
I don't know. And I think it's interesting when people can make those direct connections. I think I was lucky with the parents that I got because they were always super supportive. My dad, I love to tell this story. We were watching TV or, you're flipping through the channels and we came across a Spanish channel, someone speaking Spanish. And I started translating. I was making it up based on what the screen was going on. I mean, I had the best story going. And you could see him. His chest was puffed out and he was just like, that's my daughter. That's my daughter. And so that was what I grew up with, was he thought whatever I did was outstanding. And
I love it.
And so my mother and I are sitting there trying to hold back because she knew. I was like, I know my daughter, I love you, I know you're smart, but I know you're not doing that. And that's where the sense of humor came. Because once he caught on, he laughed, we all laughed. But it was that kind of environment where I knew someone believed in me, which is really powerful.
Oh, I love that. I probably shouldn't even say this, but like, one of the things that has come up for me lately is my father died when I was young. Like, he died at 69. I was 37. And I've always thought about like how old he was when he died, but just recently started thinking about how old I was. And at 37, I don't know, it's not super young, but it's young to lose a parent, I think. But my mother would say, like, he used to say, Ciara's a great all-rounder. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't think he meant it as an insult. He was the sweetest guy in the world, like the sweetest person in the world. So I'm sure that he meant it as a compliment, but it sounds like she's not really great at anything. Depending on your perspective, right? Depending on, like, if you're like me, who will like assume that it's not a positive thing or not a. I try.
Because I heard that, and I'm like, oh, he thinks that pretty much she can do it all. She's
right,
like, she's good
exactly.
at this, she's good at that, and you're like, no.
No,
he said I'm not a genius in one thing. There might be a little filter issue there.
Well, that's exactly it. But that's part of this, right? Though, isn't it? Like, we learn and we grow. Hopefully, at some point, I'll be like, yes, I know that's what he. No, I do know that that's what he meant. But sometimes when it's said, I'm like, I don't love how that sounds.
Let's think about that for a second.
Let me think about that for a second.
Say a little bit more about that.
Yeah, exactly. Say more. When you talked about like your sense of humor, which I think, like, you and I are connected on Facebook, and I love when you start posting about your mother, your parental unit, and some of the stories. And I love your sense of humor, and I wonder about, like, does that come into play? I mean, this is not a business sort of podcast at all, but obviously we all have business worlds, right, and work worlds. Do you get to play with that in your work at all? With your, like, do you get to bring your whole self, like that sense of humor?
I don't have a choice because I can't stop it. I mean, I know when to be appropriate, obviously, but I refuse to kind of fight who I am. And it is my promise that I will show up the same way everywhere, because it would be awful, like, if I showed up on our first call and I'm like laid back and I'm in a suit and, I'm like here to and therefore and all that, and I show up on our first working session and I'm cracking a joke. No one's going to be happy then. So I try not to do that. So I do try to lighten them up, because look, we pour our hearts into our businesses. And that's like the ultimate stress when things aren't going well and you're like, I don't know what to do. Why is this broken? This life sucks. Why did I ever do this? And so I may try to lighten that or point out, maybe this isn't as dire as you think it is. Just a thought. All with a purpose, never to lessen what anyone is feeling. Sure. But just to kind of show the opposite side. Like I said, I really truly believe we're not going to die. So, you know, I worked with an OBGYN. Her day job, she knew folks were going to die. Yeah. Could die. But when it came to her online presence, she's like, look, this is serious, but, my barometer is way here and this is here. So we're good. Yeah. So I follow her lesson. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it has to be in the moment, but I think you're right. Like, it's so many people spend so much time in workplaces, frankly, that they can't be themselves, that they're not able to just be, like, fully who they are. And I think that there's
I mean, there's a lot of arguments to be made for and against, like, bringing your full self. What does that mean? How vulnerable does that make you? Can it be used against you and da da da? But like, I remember
Yes.
hearing stories about people that are literally sitting in their car in the parking lot before they go into their office, like crying because they just don't want to go in. And I'm like, that sucks. Like, that's not what anybody should want, right?
Yep,
You
for
know?
sure.
And I feel like this particular job market that we're in, which is bananas, like it's just a really strange job market, that I think a lot of people are probably just staying put and not in happy places. But man, when this wind shifts and things start to change, there's going to be a lot of movement going on.
Yeah. When
You
that
know?
pendulum swings,
Uh-huh.
it will snap back. And I think,
Yeah.
though, what I do want to call out, too, is that it is so much different bringing my full self because I'm my boss than when I had a boss.
Yes.
Because when I worked in corporate, I did try to be more myself, but I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I was all myself.
Right.
That would have been suicidal. So I get that tension.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now I don't have to worry about it because I get to make that call and I get to show up for the clients who can appreciate whatever environment I create because I refuse at this point to just dread seeing someone's name on my calendar and saying, I don't want to do that. I
Right.
won't do it.
Yeah.
I won't do it. That I can
Yeah.
stand firmly behind.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome though, like to be able to get to that place in your work world or in any part of your life, just to be able to say, you know what, I'm not going to spend time doing things, working with people, or that I just don't want to. I don't want to have to deal with. I mean, it's such a luxury to get there. I feel like.
Oh, for sure.
And
For
I think
sure.
even in our personal lives, I mean, I know, like having conversations with friends about, somebody's in their life and they're not in their life anymore, and how does that feel? And I feel like it's always a gift in a way. It's a gift when somebody leaves, because if they're not willing to stay around with who you are and how, especially if you're growing, I think people tend to lose people when they do grow and when they change and when they start to set boundaries and so forth. And I think like that, let them go. Like that's a gift,
Definitely let them go. And there's pain there
Of course,
too.
there
And
is.
having been on the flip side of having to kind of step away from someone, I will admit I haven't always handled it well. Just kind of
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah.
Those
Listen,
conversations are hard.
they really are. And it's sort of human nature, I think. It's like you don't want to, I don't know. I will say for me personally, like I do not like confrontation at all. So like it would be easier to just disappear than to have that hard conversation. But I think like I've seen situations where like there was somebody I knew a long time ago, and they were trying to get a new job, and they had a group of friends that they hung out with that were not like, the person was, I'm supposed to be at an interview right now, and they're like, no, just stay for another while. We're like they do not have your best interest at heart,
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know how we went down that tangent.
That's
but,
all right.
but,
Well, you told me
listen,
we're going to follow the conversation
we're
where
gonna
it goes.
follow the conversation where it
That's
goes.
right.
But
Yeah.
you did talk about your life at corporate, in the corporate world, and not being able to be fully yourself. So you had some interesting stuff that happened to you early in your career. Like it said, you grew up in Hartford, you came to Massachusetts to go to college, and I think you said your mother was like, "Oh, you'll be back," or you were saying, "I'll be back," right?
Yeah, and
Tell
she's
me
like, "No,
that.
you
Tell
won't."
me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I figured, why not? It's just you go to school and you do your 4 years and you find a job and you come home. And once I started interviewing, because they would set up the campus interviews, the majority of them were local, and I hadn't quite made that connection
Okay.
about who would be on the other end of that degree when you
Yeah.
were finished, and it was a lot of local people. And so when I started interviewing, I'm like, oh, guess what? I got a job. Oh, guess what? Where it is. And then it became, I'll just be here for a few years and get my feet wet. But inertia is a trip, and I got caught up in it.
Yeah. You do, don't you? I mean, we get comfortable.
Yep.
You were
It was
comfortable
like, it was
for
great.
20 years?
Yeah, 20, 23. I keep losing track because it seems like a different life.
Well, yeah. Right.
It was, yeah, but it was, yeah, it's over 20.
Yeah. And I think you had said, you went through multiple RIFs or reduction in forces. So like there were layoffs, you were working at a company, it was bought by another company, it consumed another company. There was a lot going on, right? There was a lot of those changes.
Yeah.
And you just kind of rolled along and you were like, okay, I'm still here, I'm still here. And then all of a sudden you weren't.
Exactly. And that's pretty much one of the things I do regret now is that, because I know we had talked about this earlier, when I first got that job, I was told by everybody, because it was the phone company, and in that iteration before the Telecom Act and competition, if you got a job at the phone company, you died there. So that was like the tradition.
So like it was life or death.
Exactly. It's true. Got out of college, you worked for there, you got your pension, you died. And so I'm like, yay, I'm good. And there was a woman early in my career who said to me, and I know I'm going to mangle it, but in essence, she said, it's a poor mouse that only has one hole. Trying to get me to see not to make the company it. And I'm like young and dumb. I'm like, everybody else is telling, what are you talking about? What do you want me to do? I got to work here. And I wish I had taken that more to heart, because even after all of the rifts and seeing my colleagues and friends get laid off, it was still like being jerked and a punch in the gut. And I think had I had a little side hustle then, like a true side hustle, or thought about it a little bit more, it would not have been so jarring.
Yeah, there certainly was, though, that time where you got the job, you did the work, you stayed at the company, you might have moved around a bit, and then you collected your pension, and that was it. Like, people were in organizations for life.
Exactly.
And it's certainly not like that now.
No.
At all. But what happened? So after that layoff, after you did get let go, when I lost my job, my last sort of corporate job in December of 2024, I was like, my entire life, I always felt like I needed to know where my next check was coming from. Like, I needed that security. I needed to know I was getting, well, when I grew up in Ireland, it was once a month that everybody got paid. I don't know how we managed, but that's what happens over there. But you budget, right? You manage. Anyway, I knew when my next check was coming from. I always knew, what it was going to be and where it was, and I needed that stability. Both of my sisters are in the arts, and I never knew how they could manage. Like, the idea of not having that steady, reliable income always stressed me out. So after I lost my last job, like I said, in December 2024, one of the gifts of this time and that happening, honestly, has been that need has completely evaporated for me. Wow. Which is kind of astounding. But it's so freeing. It's become so freeing because I don't have that, because I haven't had the steady income. I'm like, don't get me wrong, a bit of stability would be nice, but like, I don't have that, like, that real, like, it's not defining for me anymore. And it used to be one of my defining, I felt like it was core to me, and now I've just realized that it's not anymore at all, which I love. I just absolutely love that.
That is powerful.
It really is. I mean, there's been a few lessons from this that have been really powerful for me. That's probably, well, right now, the most powerful one that as I think about it, because it really has changed. It's a game changer for me.
Yeah.
It's enabled me to start my own business and all the things, and so, and do this as well.
There you go. Look at that.
And allow myself to do this, right? Because I think before, like, prior me would have been like, oh my God, no, I don't have time to have this, like, passion project. I have to earn money. I have to, and like I said, I do need to do that. Some stability would be nice, but it's not definitive for me anymore, which is great.
Right.
So, you were at this job for 20 plus years, and you thought it was going to be forever. Like, how did you feel? Like, what did that sort of awaken in you when it went away?
Well, I mean, I think I counted to that point, and it's been so long, so no one quote me if I get the number wrong, but I think I'd been through 11 rifts before. So I cannot say that it was a surprise, but it was still jarring, for lack of a better way to say it. And I totally get what you get by stability. Because it had been going on so long, I knew, like, what the traditional severance package was. I knew, I looked into what unemployment could be. So even I knew if they snatched that away, I had already planned, all right, if this is what I'm going to have, this is how long I can live. and not be stressed. So I was still already making plans because I liked to know where the next paycheck was coming from too. And I think it kind of bared its ugly head early in my career because you become, in my business career, it becomes signing that client that you weren't quite sure with because it was a stable check. Definitely played out in my earlier days because I liked that stability too. And plus I'm like, well, I can learn, or I'm pretty malleable. I can work with anybody. And you know, the truth was I wanted to pay my bill. You know?
Yeah.
That was the cold and honest truth. So that's how it showed for me. It wasn't ever a goal. I was never one of those people. I was not a boss babe. It's just that's not what in any shape I had been. I kind of, like I said, I followed the breadcrumbs. I kind of fell into it all.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I wish I had known back then all those nights when I was so stressed where I'd be now because I wouldn't chill. It's like, girl, please. This is going to be just fine.
Yeah. But I do think it's character building. No, but like...
I had enough character.
Right, exactly. Thank you very much. No, but there is something in that struggle, right? Not that, I mean, I don't advise struggle. Like, if we can avoid it, like, let's do that, right? But there is something in that when you do have to go through something and build from there that I think makes you more... I was going to use the word resilient, but I hate the word resilient. I wish we didn't have to be resilient. Can we create a world, please, where we don't need to bounce back from everything every 5 minutes?
I'm off with the soft life.
Can we please? I know,
I'll
really.
Admit it.
I love my soft mornings. I have to
all
say,
for it.
All for it. You kind of touched on something which is interesting that I wanted to I pulled out of your bio. Like, I think we all stumble through work and business and we learn things along the way. Obviously, like, nobody was born with like all the answers and we don't know everything. And I think, you know, business and life and non-business life or work life sort of mirror each other. I noticed the phrase in your bio that you work with established founders. And so I decided to extrapolate from that you had some interesting times when you worked with founders that weren't so established. And that maybe, without telling any tales, that you had some, you know, that you had to sort of learn some things along the way as far as like who you best worked with and what you needed from the relationships as well.
No, not so much. It wasn't so that I don't want to with those folks. I think as I've kind of come along in my business, I'm kind of bringing people along with me. So I understand what is kind of happening when you've been going along and you're trying to go to that next level, but all the things that got you here won't. And I can help folks with that structure. But that doesn't mean that someone who's a little bit newer, I always get a little nervous with new folks because people start throwing too much at them. And it's like, you gotta have the perfect website and you gotta get on social media. So I didn't want to be part of those voices either.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, because as a sort of a newer founder myself, I've just been saying recently to myself and anybody that will listen, like, I feel like I'm just listening to everybody's voice and not honoring my own in some ways, you know, because like in my mind, I've never done this before. I've never run my own business before. Therefore, these other people must know more than me. They must know better than me. And it's like, yes, about some things, but also then I talk about, go back to the authenticity. Like, I have to be authentic. Like, I have to be me. And so I can't take advice on that from somebody else in a way. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally no.
Yeah. But I wonder, like, when you talked about at the beginning, like taking on clients who you were like, oh, I'll learn from this experience or that, you know, like that, there's a sort of a scarcity mindset around that, I think. Right?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's no sort of about it. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get past that? Like, how did you get past that scarcity mindset to sort of hone in on who your ideal clients were or niche down or whatever you want to call it? And again, this goes for business and personal. Like, we have that. Sure. I know a lot of us have that scarcity mindset. So
I don't know so much it was that I've gotten better at it. On looking at it from a business standpoint, it was not a fun engagement, not like fun laugh, but it just wasn't a pleasant experience for either party. And at the same time, I do recognize having made that move gave me the opportunity to attract people who I really did want to work with. So it filled a purpose. I just did not want to make that an ongoing theme.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I get that. Okay. I think sometimes we learn lessons or whatever you want to call it without trying, right? We're not like, I'm going to learn how to get past this scarcity mindset now. You know, you're just
Yes.
like, you got to go through something. You're like, oh, hang on. That feels better now. You know? Yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I'm glad you said that because I didn't want to seem like I had this great epiphany. It's like, I am never going to do this because I've reached a higher self. See, I can't even take myself seriously when I say things like that. That's kind of what I mean. I'm definitely the person who has to touch things to see if they're going to break. It's just the brick wall has to hit. I will own that. So that wasn't being in the midst, because at first it was like, I'm in business to make money. This person is going to help me make money.
Yep.
This is very logical, and ignored all the other stuff. And
Yeah.
then when the other stuff start hitting, then it became, I'm not enjoying this. I will give them my all, but this cannot be how this goes every day for the rest of my life.
Right.
So it really just was an issue of, I don't want to keep doing this. It wasn't like, I am no longer, operating on this plane. That doesn't really cross my mind.
Yeah. But is it more of like for me, it's kind of an integrity thing, I think. And,
Say more.
So like somebody asked me a question about my business and saying, would you work with organizations? So I work in diversity, equity, inclusion, or whatever we're calling it these days, culture, employee engagement, whatever we're calling it these days. Anyway, so somebody had asked me, would I work with organizations that were just checking boxes in order to have some income? And I actually said yes initially, because I was in a scarcity mindset in that moment. And then I thought about it for 5 seconds. I'm like, no, that's not what I want. I didn't get into this work to help an organization pass a compliance test. You know what I mean? I got into this work to help the people who are most impacted by uninclusive, not equitable environments.
There you go.
And so that when I talk about integrity, for me, that's what that is. It's like I would be completely outside of my integrity if I was working with, organizations that didn't care about their people or didn't care about this work. We're just doing it to check boxes.
Oh yeah. All
Now I
money and
realize
good money.
that limits me somewhat, right? Because somebody else asked me, they're like I said, I was explaining what I do, and they're like, oh, so like if somebody has a lawsuit against them or they have a compliance issue, then you come in and help them fix it. I'm like, no, that's not, no. I mean, I could, but that's not. I want to work with organizations and people who want to be better and have their workplace be somewhere where everybody can feel a sense of belonging and that know that they're valued, So anyway, so for me it's integrity.
Oh, for sure. Because you
Yeah.
want to come in before they hit that point. It's like, no, my work is to prevent them, hopefully,
Right.
from getting that
Yeah.
lawsuit, not to react to that lawsuit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Totally
I also
understand.
think that if you're in a situation, you were saying like you're working with the client, you're giving them your all, absolutely, but you might not sign a new contract. You might not continue on. And so for me, that shows up as sort of feeling depleted at the end of an interaction as opposed to feeling energized.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And just like I said, it's like looking at your calendar, what's coming up today, and you see their name, and you're like, oh.
Ugh.
Or the inbox shows up in your Amex, and like, what's going to happen now? What are they not like? What is this going to be? What do I have to pretend to be? And that just takes way too much energy.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like the emotional energy of that. Yeah.
Nah, I want no part of that.
Yeah. But I love that you're there, like that you're in that place where you know that and you can understand that, because I think like if younger folks are listening, there's so much pressure, I think, to be all things to all people, and sometimes, or just always, or even that, you talked about boss babe or like the hustle culture of like stuff comes along on my Instagram feed. Sometimes I'm like, stop. Like there's this new ad that keeps showing up. It's like, I made $10 million in 5 seconds. I'm like, No, you didn't.
No,
Like,
you
shut
didn't.
up. Like, that didn't happen.
Only if your daddy
So,
wrote you that check.
yeah,
Please
you know what I
stop it.
mean? Like, yeah, it took 5 seconds for somebody to write you a check that, it's your inheritance. Here you go, you're getting it early. Like,
Exactly.
but it's so unrealistic. And it just doesn't help anybody. I don't know. So I think about that sort of hustle culture, and all of that just really rubs me the wrong way. And I appreciate the fact that you're able, again, you're who you are, you're yourself, you're authentic, you're, running your own thing the way you want to run it, and living your life the way you want to live it, which is great. And I think my point with all of this rambling is for the younger folks out there, like,
Yes.
that is achievable, and you don't have to wait till you're, I'm in my 50s, like, you don't have to wait till that point to understand that and know that. And I actually think some of the, like the Gen Z folks kind of inherently and intuitively know that. And that's why they don't kind of put up with some of the BS that we used to put
Yes.
up with. And I love that. Like, I love
I
that
do
they're
too.
there. Like, it's like, yes. And like really kind of shaking things up and like, yeah.
I love that for them. And I was thinking, I think some of them, based on, I don't know many, but anecdotally from social media, random conversations, I do think some of them are getting it. And I have a great time in those comment threads at all the boomers and the Gen Z people who are like, in my day, I walked to work barefoot in the snow.
Uphill both ways.
Yeah, with a fever of 106, skip my lunch. And I'm like, but you shouldn't have had to. And these kids are saying, and we're not going to. I love that for them.
I love it
And
too.
I'm like, I'm cheering them on. And it was
Yeah.
like held in this badge of honor. I'm like, please be proud of something else.
Right. I know. Like, you don't be proud of your exhaustion. Like, and
Yeah,
your,
exactly.
yeah,
And
yeah.
trying to wish it on other people. No,
Yeah.
take a no. I'm all for. I'm like their biggest cheerleader. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I can't imagine having said some of the things that they're like, don't call me when I'm on vacation or after hours. How many after hours emails and calls was I taking?
Right.
And they're like, no. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you go. Mm-hmm. That's the way it should be.
Right. Set yourself some boundaries.
Exactly,
know?
because 20 years later they still gonna riff you.
Exactly. No matter how much you do.
Yeah, so that these companies can't love you back.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I said in your intro that you spent a decade as a health and wellness coach. Like, what? How did that come about, and what happened there?
That was once again me following the breadcrumbs. He had been on 2 trillion weight loss programs, and I found one tiny small guy online, and I fell for his ad. I'm like, I'm being sucked in. I can feel it, but this looks really good. So I joined, and I lost a good deal of weight. And there was a point he's like, hey, would you consider being an assistant coach for me? So it was all online, which was kind of cool to kind of see a business that was run online. I was still doing that towards the end of my corporate career. So when I got riffed and I was trying to figure out, I got a career coach and we talked, and I was really struggling trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. And I was talking to him and he's like, have you ever considered doing this on your own? I'm like, no, because the plan was
I was going to work, collect my pension, die.
die. And nowhere in there was starting your own business. So I'm glad I kind of got over it and figured, well, I've got some runway because I had gotten a really nice severance to play and see what could happen. And I'm so glad, unlike my normal, somewhat fairly risk-averse self, I decided to give it a go. And so I got certified. My first one, tried it out, was still working with him at the same time, which was really helpful. And then finally I'm like, okay, we're gonna just hang out my shingle. Wellness with Wanda was born. That was my very first business.
Awesome. Did that shape anything for you? Obviously coming out of like corporate mindset into that. Was it, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now that are
Sure.
maybe related, maybe not. Was there enough structure in that to help ease your transition? Or is that not a factor at all?
I invested in coaches early on because I knew I didn't know what I was doing. I had a private coach I worked with SBA, the local SBA, for a minute to get some advice too.
Got it.
Because I didn't know what I was doing. And I kind of needed someone to say, this is where your focus would be. It was harder. I'm glad I didn't know how hard it was going to be because I don't think I would have tried. I worked in marketing for corporate for most of my career. And it's really different marketing long distance minutes to carriers than to stand up in front of one and someone, I'm wellness with Wanda, and kind of put myself out there. That was really, really hard.
So
and I didn't expect that. Yeah, I was like, I want to go back to selling the widgets because this right here, I could not be any farther out of my box if I tried.
Right.
And no one told me that's what it was going to be like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
Yeah. But it must have set you up then for what came next with your...
It did, because I followed the breadcrumbs again. I'm still working with a coach. My fellow coaches would come to me for help with all the background stuff. Websites, setting up their email platforms, getting on social media. And that came naturally to me because I like puzzles. I like to make things talk to each other and to work.
Yep.
So that was like, I was like just as happy as I could be at my little keyboard. I was always trying the latest software to figure out, this one works, this one sucks, this one talks to that one. And I finally had a coach said to me, so how much money are you bringing helping these coaches versus how much are you bringing in for Wellness with Wanda? I'm like, getting kind of personal here? Wow, I didn't see that coming. I was just doing it because it was fun. So then I decided, okay, and I hung up my shield. That was my second business as a VA.
Yeah, I think something you said there really kind of piqued my interest for myself too. It's like those things that you do that you can kind of just get lost in, or you just like love spending time. Like I build my own websites. I love doing it. I can literally spend all day just like just moving things around, like what's the copy, what's the thing, and I'm like, I should be doing this, in some ways, because anyway, tangent, but but I think, but there's something there too, right? Again, for people from all generations and all ages, like what is the thing that you love spending time on, and can you make that a thing? Can you make that, whether it's a side thing or your main thing? When I was coaching for a while, when I was career coaching, I would say like, and this isn't mine, it's not my framework, but basically like, list everything that you do all day and how much time you spend on it. And next to it, is it something that you love or something that you loathe? Loathe is a strong word, but you know what I mean? So it's just for semantics.
It's okay.
But yeah, so is it something that you love or something that I don't love it so much? But that doesn't fit neatly in a little column. So, and then like are there ways that you can reduce the things that you don't love so much, whether it be through delegation or change in your job or whatever it might be, and do more of what you love to do? And it's like, if only life were that simple, right? But, I feel like it should be. I feel like there's got to be some timeline that we're in that's not the one we're in now.
Yeah, I was going to say we have not realized that yet.
We're not realizing that yet. But wouldn't it be lovely if we could spend at least more time doing the things that really kind of light us up and bring us joy, as opposed to the grind,
Yes. Yeah. And I will say, I often joke about myself, I am no Pollyanna here. You will not get the rainbows and lollipops view for me. It's just not who I am. So I cannot honestly sit here and say that I would work 9,000 days. I would love to be on a beach somewhere right now. But if
Instead
I
of
have
talking
to
to
work,
me?
Exactly, after this is over, I would take you with me.
Perfect.
Come on.
Okay, let's go.
Catch up here. Yeah. We'd be sitting there with a little drink with a little umbrellas on the beach, having this conversation.
Nice.
But I think it would be dishonest to say I would love to be a lady of leisure.
Yeah.
But I am not a lady of leisure, so I want to spend my days doing things that I like.
Correct.
And getting paid for them. That's where I say, because the whole thing, you find something that you love and you never work a day in your life, it's a little too pretty for me.
That's a little neat.
It's a little too pretty for me. But you can definitely find
new.
things you want to do that light you up. At the end of the day, my poor mother, God bless her, I will figure something out or get my client to realize something or just have this wonderful thing that works at the end of the day. And I'll start sharing with her, and she will patiently listen and have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. But I'm so fired up about it, I gotta tell somebody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. Well, I love that she patiently listens, though.
Oh, she
She's
does.
just not like,
She humors me. Yeah.
yeah.
She's like, oh, that's very good. I don't know what you said, and I could never repeat it. When people ask her what I do for a living, she still says she works on computers. So,
Yeah, listen,
you know.
but that's part of what you do for her, right? Because that was like we're going there with your parental unit. I love like all I said this earlier, but like you lovingly refer to her as your parental unit. Your posts about her bring me so much joy. Like there's so much love there, and still, you're sort of part-time caregiver in many ways, and so that's presumably there's pleasure and joy in that, but also it's challenging.
Yeah, for sure. It is
Yeah.
work. It impacts the work that I do because I pick what I can work on, so I have the flexibility to be there for her. And my goal before I get to the beach and just kind of lay out in the sun all day is somewhere I'm going to build a community for caregivers who are running their own businesses. I don't know what that's going to look like yet,
Yeah.
but I think that we all could use a little bit of support with people who kind of get it.
Yeah. Is that I love that dream. Connect to your world, your work world and your home world in ways, right? Do you have you've talked about coaching, you've talked about is it like a coaching support type of network? Is it just a place for people to come and be like, or like I know maybe you don't know yet, but I'm just
Yeah.
what's your vision? Like how are you
I don't, it's really definitely at the back of the envelope stage right now, but I kind of envision it as, I want to use the word co-op, but say you need to take a day off and you need someone to take calls for you for a day or sit in for you and just like a little backup. And also business support. So I would have people come in and talk about business issues and health issues because caregivers get lost in themselves because they're caring for someone else. So it's kind of, my vision is taking care of the business and taking care of your body. Kind of, I used to have a program called Biz and Bod for caregivers.
Okay. So if anybody's listening and has any ideas or
Oh, I would love them.
right?
What would
can
you
help.
like?
What would
Yeah.
what would you like? Like what is it what would be useful? Like what would be what would help alleviate some of that pressure that you're on, right? That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
You're trying
exactly.
to create somewhere to alleviate the pressure, create some support. Yeah, like what
That's a
would that look
perfect
like?
way to say is
Yeah.
alleviate the support because it is. I think there's a tendency for people to think just because you set your own schedule, so to speak, that is easier for you. And I know
Yeah.
that's not true because I still have responsibilities to my clients who expect me to be there and I'm going to be there. So it's not just because you're sitting at home working all day that you can help me out. No, because I'm running my business, I'm helping be a caregiver.
Yeah.
So my needs aren't getting met either. So I know I posted several months ago about this. I'm like, my fellow caregivers, let's talk. And people are like, yeah, I love a community. Oh my goodness, count me in. No one knows it. Would you include
Right.
that? I'm like, if you're a caregiver, I'm not going to sit there and define it. If you're caring for another human being, loving being, breathing being, then
Right.
yes, you are a caregiver.
Yeah.
I would love for people to share what they would need.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're listening or watching, just pop it in the comments and we'll pass it along. Awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Please do.
I think that there's just something there.
Yeah, I think so too. It's not going to get bigger as we're all getting older.
We're all getting older, parents are getting older. I mean, there's certainly that sandwich generation of like people who are caring for their own kids and caring for their parents.
Yeah,
And
Ooh,
this
that's
is,
a double whammy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine, but yeah. Yeah. No.
I have no idea how people manage that
I
at
don't know.
all.
I don't know. I think about this. Like, I never had kids. I knew when I was like 15 I wasn't going to have kids. It's a long story. But I think about that, like, the people that are raising kids and just the worry of, like, this is what I think of. If I was a parent, I would be such a worrier. Like, I would have no peace. Like, I would just be worrying constantly, like, all the time about what's
believe it.
happening. All the time. And so if you're a caregiver for, your kids and you're a caregiver for your parents and you've got your work or your job or whatever you've got going on in your life, like, I don't know how people manage all that. I really don't.
No,
Yeah.
Gotta
And
be.
we're
'Cause
expected to do it all, right?
yeah. I'm like, it's hard enough managing me. I
Same.
can't. This is like you start adding other people on top of that. That's a whole new world.
Right, people talk about this all the time, but that there's a veneer, or yeah, veneer is probably the only word I can think of, perfection, like that some people posting on social media, whatever, like they have it all, like everything's fun, everything's clean, whatever. And I always think about, like, we most of us, not everybody, but most of us are putting our best stuff online, right? The fun stuff that we're like, myself and my wife, it's like when we're on our trips to New York or Ireland or whatever, with the theater, we're doing our things, and everybody's like, oh my God, I love watching your stuff on. I'm like, I love it too. Like, I love my life, but that's not my whole life, right? I wish it was. But we don't post like laundry, dishes, we don't post those things, or caregiving. No. Like, we just generally don't. And so, like if you're watching, if you're like comparing your life to somebody else's social media, like it's the highlight reel. It's, it's their best of everything.
You're setting yourself up for failure right then and there.
Yeah. But
because even the good stuff you overstayed. It's like, you don't talk about, oh my gosh, we trained, we had to get off 4 planes to get here.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We were flying to, Ireland, but we had like turbulence for 3 hours. Like, that's not part of the story, right? It's just, exactly. Yeah. But it's one of the reasons why I actually love those little things that you post about your mom, because they're not varnished. Like, they're not they're just little, like, oh, here's a little thing that happened. Help me out here, folks. Like, what's the, Yeah. I love that.
Yes, help. That's a true cry for help.
Yeah. Cry for help. You're like,
somebody help me.
Save
Please
me.
Help.
Please send help. I have this question that I saw somewhere, and it's very deep. And I'm gonna ask it, and I don't know, it feels like the wrong vibe, but I'm gonna ask it anyway, because I kind of want to just see where it goes.
Sure. It
grabbed my attention. So the question is, what quietly breaks you?
Oh, I don't know if it's quiet though.
It doesn't have to be quiet.
Yeah. I am so incredibly disheartened with how mean people are being to each other.
Yes.
Just on random things. I saw one a little bit earlier today when someone was kind of going after a kid, and that, to me, like, meanness is bad enough, but children, grown people negatively commenting and feeling comfortable enough to post it on the internet. Yeah. And I try to remind myself it's just a small hopefully, sub-segment of people, but it feels big, and it's really weighing on me. Every now and then I have to step away from social media for a bit, because it just, it hurts.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I think, like, the meanness is, like, I mean, I suppose it's always existed, right?
Of course.
But it feels like there's two things going on for me. I certainly, the quote unquote anonymity of the internet has certainly emboldened people to just say whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like, I was just talking about people curating their feeds, but like, some people don't. They're just putting it all out there.
All out there.
All of it. And I also think this current climate that we're in with this current administration has absolutely given people permission to just be their worst selves.
Without a doubt. Yeah. They've always been there. They just now they have a bigger stage.
Yeah.
When they're finding each other.
Right.
But it's just, I don't understand how.
Yeah. It's like, I would never, and I've seen people do this on friends of mine's posts and stuff, and it doesn't happen to me. I shouldn't say this now, people will start. But it does.
I'm taking notes right now.
I'm taking notes. No, it doesn't happen to me, but like, I've seen people arguing with people on their friends' posts. Like, if somebody posts something about, I don't know, Happy Pride, right? It's June 1st today when we're recording this, so Happy Pride, right? And like, all of my interactions in that, on my feed, and from anybody that's connected to me would all be positive. But I see people like arguing with people in their, like, in Facebook comments, and they're arguing with friends of friends and saying these horrible things. I'm like, who does that? Like, if I don't, like, it's not like quite, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I wouldn't post anything that I wouldn't want a person I was writing about to come across and read. So, like, you see people, like, criticizing, like you said, somebody was going after kids, people criticizing celebrities for this, that, and the other thing. Like, I just would never write something and put it online if I didn't want the other person to see it. Or if the other person came across it, that they would be like, shit, like, somebody said that about me. Like, I might have thoughts. I'm not an angel. I have thoughts.
You're like, I have thoughts.
I have thoughts, but I would never put it out there and say, like, if somebody was commenting on something that you wrote and I didn't agree with that comment, I just move on. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't get into an argument with a friend's friend on any social media. I wouldn't post something like if somebody had a terrible facelift to be like, oh my God, they look terrible. Like, you don't need to say that. Just let it go. It doesn't matter. It's not about you.
And here's a mirror. No.
Yeah, but like, they know. Or they don't care. One or the other.
There's not anything they can really do anyway, so it's all good.
Anyway, and it certainly doesn't matter what I have to say about it, but it just really, it blows my mind that people are so overtly unkind.
Yes.
And I don't know. I don't even have the right words, because I don't understand it.
No, I don't. And it is definitely one of those things I think is at this point is just kind of feeding on themselves. Like I said, they've found each other.
Yes.
So it's like, hey, before it used to be just me and I was afraid I was going to be ostracized. But now I got my gang with me.
Right.
So we all going to go out here now and just wreak havoc wherever we want to go. I have a friend who I call in charge of me on social media.
Okay.
I've asked her that if she finds that I'm commenting, because every now and then I can't hold back. So if she should happen to come across one of those comments where she thinks I might have gone a little too far, she's given permission to tap me and say,
yeah.
Did you really mean it? I'm going to mean it, what I say.
Right.
It's more
always.
that should I have contributed to that conversation is going to be the issue. Because that's kind of when you say, what is it, break? That is, I have gotten to that point more often than I would like, where I'm furiously just when I see something, I'm like, this is pointless, Wanda, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But every now and then it sneaks in.
It is hard not to. Like, I'm not saying, again, I have
I
thoughts,
get you.
and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it's, I'm like,
but you stop because you realize, you know what,
I'm just like,
what is this going to do?
I found myself, and this to me still kind of blows my mind. It was probably during the first administration of the current occupant that I was using like the this is so stupid in some ways, but it really is something that happened to me. Like, I was using the angry emoji so much that I actually think it was making me angrier. Like, I was angry reacting to so many things, and then I was constantly angry. I'm like, what is that? So I literally just stopped. I'm like, and it actually made a difference. It really did make a difference.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
It was the craziest thing, because I'm like, it just doesn't, I don't know. It just didn't, it's not me. Like, I'm a problem solver. I'll try and find solutions. I don't know what the answer is to any of what's going on right now, obviously, but I don't want to contribute. Like, I will share, even if I'm sharing like something about what's going on. I try not to just blindly share things. I like share things with like a link to a resource or like that kind of thing, I don't know.
That's cool.
It's just what helps me. But like are you on Threads? I can't remember.
I peek it in there.
Yeah.
I'm not there often.
Right. So like Threads is kind of hilarious because it's a much more kind of liberal, progressive platform, but there are definitely sort of conservative people on there, and like their things just show up in my feed because somebody else that I follow commented on it in a funny way or whatever. Maybe not funny, but whatever. but I also then I'm like, I don't even want to see the original thing. Like, even though I totally appreciate the comment that you just made, and you're kind of like, putting them to rights, like, I don't want to see the original thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm torn about that one. I think I might have to bounce out of there for a while, because it gets under your skin.
It does. It sucks you in. And like you said, I have to ask myself, am I making it any better? And you, most of the time, if I'm being honest, the answer is I'm getting this off my chest, so it's making me feel better.
Absolutely, 100%.
But I'm not making the situation any better.
Yeah.
So I try to balance that, but every now and then,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
that's real.
let
That's
it go.
Just real.
Yeah, because it's crazy out there. I do have a rule now, though, that I had to impose for myself. And this isn't so much people being mean, but when you said you share resources, it made me think of it. I've had to stop fact checking other people because if I'm being honest, it put me in the position of being a little Miss Know-It-all, which I didn't want to do.
I don't want to know everything that's going on right now.
Well, no, I didn't want to come off as like, who does she
know
think
what you
she
mean.
is, little Miss Know-It-all?
Yeah.
But some of it was just so egregious, it would make my eyes roll back, and I'm like, you cannot believe this unattributed thing. So my rule now is I can't comment on those posts.
We have to
I will
self-impose
sometimes
rules, right?
bring it on my page and say, hey,
Yes.
if you think this, like
Yeah.
you said, throwing in a link that shows it's actually true.
Right.
And then go about my business.
Yeah,
Because then I've actually had to unfollow some people because they do it constantly.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
Yeah. Like I keep getting that pop-up, I think it's on Instagram, that says, you can be a community commenter. Like you can help us. I'm like, no, I do not want to spend my time. Thank you very much. I know, right? Can you imagine? I'm like, no.
You could have so much fun.
I could have so much fun, but then like I need to work. Like I can't,
You're like, there are just too many.
There are too many.
There's just
too many. Oh my God.
Oh,
I
that's
know.
funny.
We could talk about this all day.
We could.
Anyway, but like that was my last actual question that I had for you. And I was like, okay, that went well. I was trying to like, am I going to do it? I'll see what happens.
Go for it. Always go for it.
I know, right?
Because nobody's going to die.
It's true. No one's going to die. We are not curing cancer. No one is going to die. It's just a podcast.
There you go.
About life.
Whatever comes to mind.
Exactly. Is there anything else that you wanted to share or anything that like you wished I asked that I didn't ask you? Any parting words?
Don't put me on this. You just asked an introverted other open-ended question.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't know who listens to these, like what your audience is.
Like 5 people. It's fine.
Oh, stop it. I meant who they are, not how big they are. They're all very important.
But they are. I don't know who they are either, so there you go.
Well, we'll make it universal.
Exactly.
It might be because I was just on the interview for 50 Over 50, and then we mentioned millennials and Gen Z earlier. But I really hope they keep breaking things, like the expectations of what work is. I want them to just tell everybody no. And I hope we all can take the lesson from them, because I think that will be putting the power in the right hands.
Yeah, I love that. I think something I think about often on that topic is that this expectation that we should all want to give like 110%, or we should all want to be like superstars. Like some people want to just come in, do their job, go home and get paid. And that should be okay.
Right.
It should be okay. Yeah.
It should not be a bad thing if you ask someone why you want to work here, and they're like, because I want to make money.
Right?
But you think they came to volunteer their time? What is wrong with you people? I need to pay my bills.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So I hope they keep breaking things. I'm watching
love that.
And figuring out how I can break things too. Because Lord knows,
I love that.
we need it.
We certainly do. And we need to build something totally different when all this is done.
There you go.
We'll figure that out. Thank you so much for your time, for your words, for your joy and your humor and all of it. I really appreciate it.
All right. I'm so proud of you. Keep going.
Oh, thank you.
All right.